So ready for the amount of hate that I'm going to get on this video, so let's go ahead and talk about police brutality. First things first, is police brutality wrong? Yes. Second thing second, is police brutality racially motivated? No. Let's go ahead and get into the numbers. So Black Americans make up 13% of the US population. However, they make up 53.1% of the murders, 54.3% of the robberies, 43.9% of the weapons handling charges, and 33.5% of all aggravated assaults. This is all according to 2017 FBI crime statistics. Do you see the disparity in these numbers? But when looking at the number of people fatally shot by police officers, Black people make up roughly 25% of that, and this has been consistent from 2015 to 2019. You see the disparity in these numbers. If racial bias carried out through policing was true, these numbers would be far more similar. But what about unarmed Black people, you ask? Well, in 2019, 9 unarmed Black men were shot and killed by police officers, while 19 unarmed white men were shot and killed by police officers. And a study out of Washington State University found that police officers, even those who exhibit racial bias, are 3 times less likely to shoot an unarmed Black suspect than an unarmed white one.
Nah, that's incorrect. Very common mistake. I got you. Let me show you. So your source isn't a compilation of crimes committed or even convictions. That's a collection of arrests. People often forget to read the fine, giant yellow print. So, I mean, it's not just you, it's everybody. The phrase Black people make up 13% of the population applies to every Black person. Me, you, Oprah, Candace Owens, all of us. But the phrase Black people commit half the crime does not apply to all of us, because you never committed a crime, Oprah hasn't, I haven't, Candace Owens hasn't. So it's weird to combine something that applies to all Black people and only 0.05% of us, because only 0.05% of us have been arrested for violent crimes. So it's like saying Black people make up 13% of the population but make up like 80% of NBA basketball shots. Like that only applies to professional basketball players, not all Black people. It's so weird. I gotta go. Bye.
Investigation reveals what they feared, that it was a fellow officer who shot him.
Officer Ja'Kai Colson was unlawfully shot and killed by a fellow police officer. This man right here, Officer Taylor Krause, was the one who shot and killed Officer Ja'Kai Colson. And he claims that he didn't recognize Colson. He said that he was undercover and he was in fear of his life. I find that story very strange because Officer Taylor Krause right here worked together with Officer Ja'Kai Colson in the same narcotics department and sat at connecting desks together side by side. Officer Ja'Kai Colson was also a veteran of that department for 4 years. How do you not recognize your coworker of 4 years that you sit next to? Additionally, since we do have a racist criminal justice system, the grand jury declined indicting him of any charges. Blue Lives Matter, where's the outrage? Nowhere. Because it's never been about Blue Lives Matter. It's been about deflecting from Black issues. It's just another way of saying White Lives Matter. It's not a blue life, it's a blue shirt. Ja'Kai Colson was killed for being a Black.
Great question that I feel like needs to be talked about more. I would say I first realized when my mom told me that her grandparents wrote her a letter when she started dating Black men saying that she should not be in an interracial relationship and they were going to disown her and she shouldn't have mixed kids. And I distinctly remember her saying, you know, I think my grandparents were right. So obviously that shit hurt because I took that as, so you regret having us. And she didn't give any explanation. I just remember being like, why would you say that, and crying. Other times I realized was when I had to consistently stand up for myself as a child against racism from my own family, and she would tell me to keep the peace and stop starting arguments instead of telling them to not be racist.
Okay, so this is what I mean by issues with our culture, right? We should be coming out of the woodworks to condemn this, but I will condemn this and Black people will still get mad at me for condemning this behavior. They will call me a race traitor. You don't care about your race. How are you siding with the other side? These girls are stealing from Walmart and eating it and bragging about it, and you're worried about what side I'm on. There shouldn't be any side. It should be, this is wrong, this needs to stop, let's get that fixed. That's what it should be. And again, when it comes to our culture, look what they're teaching the young. Yeah, it's okay, girl, let's just walk into Walmart, steal what we want and eat it whenever. They're not gonna stop us, let's just go do that, knowing it's wrong. Or do they know it's wrong? Every single one of them should be punished. But again, I'm the bad guy. I don't think I'm Black because I'm not subscribing to this narrative. There needs to be community service, or they work for Walmart for a full day unpaid. There needs to be something to disincentivize this behavior, because right now there's nothing that I'm seeing. And clearly it doesn't seem like their parents are doing anything.
Being a woman who survived domestic violence or mistreatment from a man, you'll often hear, oh, don't tell another man what you've been through because then he'll just try to put you through the same thing. And that statement is so rooted in shame and victim blaming. If a man, upon hearing a woman's vulnerability about situation she's been in, decides to then try to victimize her and put her through the same exact situation, that makes that man a fucking abuser and a predator. That ain't got shit to do with the woman. Furthermore, it's not a woman's fault if she is a survivor of domestic violence. And telling survivors of domestic violence not to share their story is silencing them. And silence is what keeps abuse going. It keeps abusers going. So fuck that. Tell your story. Tell your truth. Because being a survivor of domestic violence does not mean that you're tainted. It does not mean that you were deserving of that abuse. And it does not mean that you were deserving of future abuse. And any person that tries to weaponize your truth and your vulnerability to then victimize you further is a trash ass abuser and predator. And you don't need them in your fucking life anyways.
And what I've been through and getting his compassionate reaction, disbelief, that's the whole reason why I ended up dating him. Any other man I've talked to, told them about how dudes dug me out, whatever, they will respond with a story of how they've done someone worse or how they did the same thing to someone or they're laughing. My current boyfriend never did anything.
Say that, yet they have that same privilege over Black trans people. This person has been called out multiple times to take accountability by Black people and Black trans people and has not done that. And yet, everything they say is put on a pedestal, even though Black trans people have been saying these things forever and face the brunt of the harm in the community. Like, why are they the spokesperson of transists right now when they are not facing the most harm? Why are Black trans women and other Black trans people not getting the same airtime and, like, staying around talking about the same things and more? Y'all love making people who are anti-Black pillars of the trans community and letting them speak for us, which makes no sense. Like,